Morning.
You're doing well this morning. The sun is shining. That's a good sign. It's easy to do better when the sun's shining. This morning I want to talk to you about three different people that found faith. We're talking about finding faith. Sometimes faith eludes us, doesn't it? It's hard to trust. Whenever you need to trust the most, it's when you can't see. We'll start in Luke chapter 18. If you want to find that and read along, I'm just going to read the first 8 verses there, and we'll use that for our jumping off place. An interesting little story.
18?
It begins like this. I'm reading from the Amplified, so there's going to be more words in my version than in your version, so don't get alarmed. Just follow along. Also, Jesus told them a parable to the effect that they ought always to pray and to not turn coward and give up. He said, in a certain city there was a judge who neither reverenced God or feared God, nor respected or considered man. And there was a widow in that city who kept coming to him, saying, protect and defend and give me justice against my adversary. And for a time he would not. But later he said to himself, though I have neither reverence nor fear for God, nor respect or consideration for man, yet because of this widow, she keeps coming to bother me, I will defend and protect and avenge her, lest she give me intolerable annoyance and wear me out by her continual coming. Or at the last, I'm sorry, my eyes are having trouble here. You wear me out by her continual coming. On her, at the last, she come and rail on me and assault me or strangle me. Then the Lord said, listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not our just God defend and protect and avenge his elect, his chosen ones, who cry to him day and night? Will he defer them and delay help on their behalf? I tell you, he will defend and protect and avenge them speedily. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find persistence in the faith on the earth? The wording's a little bit strange. What he's saying is, our Heavenly Father is not like that unjust judge. He is really the opposite of that judge. He will avenge us speedily. Will men still be praying? Will people be trusting their Heavenly Father in those days? That's the point of the parable. Another one I want to read to you is in John chapter 4, verse 46. We'll start there. So Jesus came again to Cana of Galilee, where he had turned the water into wine. And there was a certain royal official whose son was lying ill in Capernaum. Having heard that Jesus had come back from Judea into Galilee, he went away to meet him and began to beg him to come down and cure his son, for he was lying at the point of death. Then Jesus said to him, unless you see signs and miracles happen, you people never will believe. The king's officer pleaded with him, Sir, do come down at once before my little child is dead. And Jesus answered him, says, go in peace, your son will live. And the man put his trust in what Jesus said and started for home. Even as he was on the road going down, his servant met him and reported, saying, your son lives. So he asked them at what time he began to get better. And they said, yesterday, during the 7th hour, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the fever left him. Then the father knew that it was at the very same hour that Jesus had said to him, your son lives. And his entire family and household believed. They trusted and relied on Jesus. All right. In this account, Jesus has been to Jerusalem for the Feast of Passover. And he's coming home. And he either has to go through Samaria, which is the center county, if you want to call it that, or the center part of Palestine. And the people that lived there at this time were half-breeds. They're part Jews and part people of the world, I guess I would say it that way. They're not purebred Jews, okay? And the Jewish people really despise them. And so normally people would go across the Jordan River and go up north of Samaria, and then they would go back into Galilee. They would go that far out of their way. That was their normal pattern to avoid associating with the Samaritans. They were just nasty in their minds. Okay. He's on his way back, and he goes through Samaria, apparently just to meet the woman at Jacob's well. It's talked about there in John chapter 4. It doesn't say that specifically, except he did say before they left Jerusalem, I must go through Samaria. So he was on a mission to talk to this woman. And if you remember, he tells her about the living water he would give her, and her story is delightful to us because she already has 2 strikes against her. First of all, she's a woman. That was a mark against her. And then she was outcast, apparently. When Jesus, he sits down, it's midday, around noon, he sends his disciples into town, they're going to get some groceries. And she comes to draw water in the heat of the day, which is not normal. And you either come early in the morning or late in the evening, so it's not so hot. And she's there in the heat of the day. And they strike up a conversation. And she is the first person to ever hear that Jesus claimed to be the Messiah. And she was really excited. She knows the prophecy. And she is excited for him to come. And that's just who Jesus wanted to find. Jesus goes on from there to Cana, which is on up into Galilee, where he has friends. Especially, he was at a wedding feast there, and they ran out of wine, which was a major problem. And he changed the water into wine, and you know that story, or you can read it there. The man meets him there, all the way from Capernaum, which is up on the north end of the Sea of Galilee. So it's probably 20 or 25-mile hike just to get down to the town where Jesus is. But he's heard that he's coming, and he hunts him down. So I don't know whether somebody there knew that Jesus was going to go to Capernaum, or how he found him. It's not like it's just a little bitty town. Cana is fairly small, but Capernaum is a pretty good sized town. All right, anyway. This man's son is sick and close to death, it says. And the dad is desperate. Basically, he hunts Jesus down to beg him to heal his son. And apparently he was expecting Jesus to lay his hands on his son in order to heal him. So he was somewhat urgent in his request for Jesus to come. We would say he felt like he was working against the clock. Now, I need to teach you something about telling time 2,100 years ago, if you don't already know. They didn't have clocks or watches. They might have had a sundial, but it wouldn't have been on their wrist or in their pocket. And believe it or not, they didn't have any cell phones. Their daylight time was divided into 12 divisions. They call them hours, but they're not like you think of. It's not 60 minutes in their hours. Only twice a year is there 60 minutes in their hour, okay? The daylight is divided into 12 divisions. And the nighttime, the darkness, is divided into 12 divisions. And you know yourself, it changes every day just a little bit. So it's not ever, well, it's only twice a year, I guess you could say, twice a year that it is close to being even. So in the summertime, when you got lots of daylight, the hours are fatter. In the nighttime, the darkness, the hours are skinny or slimmer. Okay? In the wintertime, it's just the opposite. So when it says in verse 52 there, in the 7th hour, it may not be exactly 1 o'clock, although what I read in this Amplified, they say it's at 1 o'clock. May not be exactly 1 o'clock, but it's close to 1 o'clock. And it was close enough for the boy's dad to realize that was when Jesus had made the statement, your son will live. Dad does not know, but we know. Dad does not know that Jesus can raise him up even if he should die. So Dad's sweating bullets. And some of you have been in that exact same position. You have a child or a neighbor that's a small child that's hurt or sick, and it's nip and tuck, whatever that means. It's nip and tuck. Your heart is in your throat, and you're helpless to do anything. You know what that's like. Dad is about to learn something about faith or trust. How much faith did Dad need for Jesus to heal him? A lot of people who sweat a lot of bullets about that. How much faith did Dad need? He needed just enough to turn and start for home. He didn't have to have a great amount of faith. It's not Dad's power, his faith. It was Dad's mustard seed size faith that allowed him to turn. But it's Jesus who has the power. Several years ago, Rita was sitting with a good friend here, and a lady had cancer, and it was just progressively getting worse and worse, and they couldn't do any more treatments for her. She wasn't interested in treatments, really. But they had a visitor one day that was just convinced in her heart that if Rita's friend would just believe enough, if she just had enough faith, she'd be healed. And she got kind of dramatic about it, I guess. And Rita's friend did indeed get healed, but the Lord took her to the next level to do it. And sometimes we're disappointed about that. Jesus told us that faith the size of a tiny mustard seed could move a mountain. And I'm pretty sure this young boy's dad felt like a mountain had moved. But it wasn't. It was Jesus who moved the mountain, not Dad. There's another account in Matthew chapter 8. I want to read that one to you also. Happens in the same town, in fact. It says, as Jesus went into Capernaum, a centurion, which is a Roman officer, came up to him, begging him and saying, Lord, my servant boy is lying at the house, paralyzed and distressed with intense pains. And Jesus said to him, I'll come and restore him. But the centurion replied to him, Lord, I'm not worthy or fit to have you come under my roof, but only speak the word, and my servant boy will be healed or cured. For I also am a man subject to authority, with soldiers subject to me, and I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes, and to my slave, do this, and he does it. And when Jesus heard him, he marveled, and he said to those who followed him, lots of words here, I'm trying to skip some. Truly I have not found so much faith as this with anyone in Israel. I tell you, many will come from east and west and sit at the table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven, while the sons and the heirs of the kingdom will be driven out. Centurion in Capernaum, whose servant was paralyzed and distressed with many pains, Jesus offers to come and heal. And the soldier thinks himself not worthy for Jesus to be under his roof. He understood authority. Just say the word, he says. And Jesus is amazed. And I think we could say he's excited. Somebody finally got it. And it was a Roman soldier that got it. He believed Jesus could do what he asked. And if he was right, the time and the place did not matter. Faith, or better for us, trust, is an amazing thing. It's the first thing our Father wants from us in our relationship with him. Let that sink in. The first thing. Without trust, nothing else reaches him. No gifts, no worship, no good work done with him in mind, no mission works, no church work, nothing. It takes our effort out of the picture and lets him be in control and receive all the praise. When we think about what Jesus has done for us, we naturally want to do something for him We appreciate what he has done, but he doesn't need anything we can do. He doesn't need anything we can do. We can only swallow our pride and gratefully accept and enjoy what he has done and will do for us. We can obey what he asks us to do, but that is really so feeble and inadequate that it's embarrassing to offer that as a reimbursement for his gift. Our obedience actually benefits us, not him. So why would we use that as some kind of offering or payment for what he has done? I encourage you to think of these things. Consider your response. What would you do? What could you do? Those are my thoughts for you this morning. I don't think you'll waste your time thinking about those things. If you have a need we can help you with, that we can pray with you about, we'll be tickled to death to do that. You will just let us know. Come while you stand and sing.
We praise thee, O God.